today for the people that are on Zoom and anybody watching on YouTube for another edition of our Member Spotlight. So today we are joined by two more rising coaches. We got Tramaine Pride and Dakota Spears. Good morning. What's up, guys?
Morning.
So we're going to start off with Tramaine. Tramaine, tell us, first of all, appreciate you being with us today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. My dog's going crazy over there.
It's all good. I feel like everyone's used to that during the quarantine. Like there's always something going on in the background, whether it's kids or dogs or whatever. So that's par for the course. So yeah, Tramaine, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about like your background, you know, wherever you want to take it. You can tell us your background in life. You can tell us how you got started with basketball, coaching. Take it away.
All right. I got an interesting story, I think. But thank y'all for, having me on to talk about me. It's weird talking about myself, but it's cool. I'm from Pinehurst, North Carolina, actually a place called Taylortown. It's near a golfing resort. A lot of people golf there. I started playing basketball organized in high school. I was on the freshman team, didn't make JV or varsity. And then the next year grew a couple inches, made JV, had a really good coach there. Ended up playing varsity. I always tell that story because, talking to my guys or players, you go different levels. And then after that, went to UNC Charlotte, had some interests, D2, JUCO. Went to UNC Charlotte, tried to walk on, didn't happen. Walk-ons need to have really good grades. By the time my junior year came around, I ended up walking on the team under Coach Loops and Coach Perrin. Those guys looked out for me. It was a really good experience. And then after college, after that year, after UNC Charlotte, I ended up going to JUCO. My high school coach ended up taking over a JUCO job at St. Hills. Ended up going there, won the national championship. I was the old guy on the team. I think about that point, I realized I wanted to coach because I've seen so many different levels of basketball and saw what my coaches have done.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry. So you were a junior at UNC Charlotte, but a freshman on the court, basically?
Yeah, it was my freshman year athletic.
Yeah. Athletically. So you were able to go, even though you've been in college for a while, you were able to go JUCO play as a sophomore. Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
So, yeah, and you only get 2 years there, so I had 1 year left at JUCO. So I had the 1 year there, which turned out being really fun. Made a national championship run. I didn't know anything about junior college then. I didn't know the divisions, the competition. It was really high level. A lot of guys from that team, they're overseas now playing pro ball. After that, my girlfriend then, my wife came back. She played at UNC Charlotte for 4 years. She was in Poland playing professionally. She came back and we had a baby. So life hit. Started working corporate at Wells Fargo. Worked there for about 7 years. During that time, I started doing travel ball with Pro Skills basketball. The travel ball, really got me into coaching. I think it helped me a lot because with that organization, it's just you as the coach. You get a team and then you coach that team. No assistants, nothing. So I'm doing stats, fouls, all that stuff, dealing with parents, everything, all on my own. In doing that, I was coaching a kid whose dad happened to be a high school coach, really good high school coach here. He asked me to, coach with him. He said, I like the way you coach. He kept sitting in on my practices. I'm like, what's this dude doing? I noticed he had like a championship ring and stuff. I'm like, what's this dude doing? And he asked me to coach with his team at Cox Mill. They were going for a Thursday championship, ended up being able to coach a lot of D1 talent. One kid went to Duke. That's at that point, I was still working. And I was like, I think I want to do this full time. And so I dove in. I told my wife, luckily she played basketball. She understands my passion for coaching. She was coaching as well, actually. She was like, someone's got to do it. So ended up going head first into it. That summer, I was coaching the high school team in the summer. And the guy from Pfeiffer was there. And he was like, I'm leaving. Apply. Just send me your resume. So I sent him my resume. A few weeks later, got the call, did an interview, and I was coaching at Pfeiffer. So that's how I broke into college basketball. In doing that, I had a plan. I had talked with one of my classmates. He ended up one thing about rising coaches, I've learned about different routes, how people have made it in coaching. He went to Carolina as a manager, like on a path to be a coach, like he ended up being GA, assistant coach, things of that nature. And my path was different. He was like, hey man, if you can recruit, try to learn to recruit, show people you can recruit. So Division III, I started recruiting when I got there, which is really tough because there's no scholarships. And I got like 40 guys I had to keep on a roster. So, we had a season. It wasn't too great this year, but, we built a lot, built a lot of relationships with other coaches. Ended up getting a class of about 20 guys coming in this season. So, I was able to recruit in that. And then now, I'm in transition now. I'm actually going to be an assistant coach at that junior college that I played for with my coach there. He's really a mentor. The reason why I went that route, because I wanted to learn more as far as being a head coach. Going back to Pfeiffer, there we have 40 guys on the roster because we got to have a JV team. And as assistant coach, that's my program. So I got there. Coach P was like, hey, man, this is your program. You got 3 games on schedule. You need to get like 12. I'm like, oh, okay. And, junior college, it starts October 15th. You can't really do that with the guys. So I ended up building the schedule out. Got some good JV games. Love those guys. A lot of those were freshmen. I was really looking at it as my program. I was building them up to be on varsity, things like that. So, I really like JUCO in that regard. And so now I'm just trying to take that to Sand Hills, who won the national championship this year, luckily, before COVID hit. And, goes to repeat and keep growing, eventually be a head coach.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. So many questions for you. I'm trying to figure out where to start. All right. Well, first of all, we always got to get the scouting report on you as a player. Yeah. So break it down for us.
High school, I was all right. College, not so much. I walked on at Charlotte. Man, I was a power forward in high school. I got to UNC Charlotte. I was the second shortest person on the team. The point guard, he was actually a walk-on, but he ended up getting a scholarship. He was my roommate. I was only taller than him. So, I scored like 2 free throws in college. But at JUCO, I did pretty good. It was I was the elder statesman. So I was starting at one point, so I did my thing, but not as good as I wanted to be.
Shooter, driver, glue guy.
I'm a driver. I don't shoot. You ask my players, I don't shoot at practice. I dunk at practice.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, might as well. All right. So, who's the better player between you and your wife?
Oh man, I'm gonna say me, but her numbers are a lot better. She got all conference and everything hanging up around here. She got it. She has it. She has the numbers.
Okay, fair enough. So how was that like working corporate? Being away from the game. I guess you weren't really away from the game because you were involved with grassroots. But what was it like? Was there a turning point that you remember sitting at a desk being like, "Man, I gotta get on the court"?
Yep. One, I was in like 3 leagues in Charlotte. So Charlotte's it's like a really big basketball city. You were at Clemson, like you were kind of close, but the city, I was playing basketball rec leagues. I was coaching. My wife was coaching. One day I was there and in that job, I ended up being in management. So it gave me some free time. I remember it was like 2 hours. I was like doing practice plans and watching film. And I was like, you know what? I got to get out of here. Like there's some way I can get this done where it could help me take care of my family. And I felt like, I believed in myself that I could get to the point where I could.
I got you. And then, so you were working with, I didn't know you worked with PSB, Pro Skills Basketball.
Yep.
They are great grassroots
guys. Brandon and Logan. I got on with them early when they were doing the interviews. Now, they're big time. They're up there. And I remember sitting with them at Panera and they were interviewing me. We were just talking basketball. We just clicked. So, those guys, they really helped me develop as a coach. They put me in a lot of places from the Jay Billis camp to going to Davidson practices and things like that. So they really helped me a lot as far as my basketball coaching wise.
Yeah, it's 2 Davidson guys, right? That played at Davidson.
Rivals.
They were rivals?
49er rivals, yeah, Davidson and Charlotte.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. but they run their program. They run that like AAU program. At least the teams that like that Brendan was coaching that I watched, like a Davidson team. Like they're running great action
Yes.
offensively. They got
Always,
5 shooters on the floor.
always man-to-man defense, not allowed to play zone, which is, college coaches love that.
Yeah.
And you hate going to AAU tournaments, everybody playing zone all day. So I always like that. And that's kind of where I come from. Man-to-man, get at you, shooters, motion, moving, smart basketball.
So did you get the Davidson half court offense crash course?
Oh yeah, I did. Ironically, the offense I ran in high school and the JUCO with my coach is similar. That motion, I think with Brandon's brothers at Swarthmore, same thing that they run at Davidson. So it's just like I love it. I like it. It works well.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Talk about like coaching at the grassroots level as a whole, because I feel like a lot of people don't know they want to get into coaching regardless of the level, but especially people that want to, seems like that want to coach at the college level, they don't know how to get in. But
Yeah.
like grassroots is sitting right there in front of your nose. Like
Yeah.
that's the way to get in, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know it myself. I was just like, all right, all these kids are playing. There's somewhere to coach. So at that level, and people's asked me, even at D3, like, what do you do? I'm like, you got some free time? Go coach one of these AAU teams. Because one, you're seeing college coaches all the time. They're there. Other coaches are seeing you coach, seeing how you manage, your teams and build relationship with those players. You have an in with all those younger players. So that fourth grade team, that you were coaching and growing with, a few years later, I get calls from high school coaches because, around here, high school coaches look for the players. And I'm getting calls from college players like, oh, I saw you had that guy. How does he look? Yada, yada, yada. So you'll build so many relationships in travel ball. And you'll learn, to manage a lot, especially dealing with parents and handlers and egos, all that stuff. It's like everything is happening in that world.
Yeah, for sure. And then so you get your opportunity to coach at Pfeiffer, Division III school. What was that experience like?
It was, or is was, it was interesting. Even before that, the high school I coached at was Cox Mill High School. It was Barbie. He ran that thing like a college, like a Division I program. It was sharp, on point. So coming into Pfeiffer, I was able to actually bring a lot of that to it. Being at that level, it changes because I was in charge of, I had to get the travel schedule, I had to get the budgets, I had to, do the hotels and things of that nature, meeting alumni. You get more than just basketball in college. So even at Division III, it gets tough because you're doing so much. And then I was managing 2 teams. So that was interesting, to say the least. I got 2 sets of jerseys on top of it. It was just so much going on. But once I caught a rhythm, a daily playing, when I got to Pfeiffer, that's where I found Rising Coaches, because I'm like, man, I need to talk to somebody. I need some type of guidance on what am I doing here. And so that's a lot of reason why I joined Rising Coaches. And, I met a lot of people. They helped me out. And a lot of it's just, being yourself, especially with that JV program, because it's my program. And then, you realize what your head coach needs. Like, he has a list of stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? To keep you calm, to coach, I'm going to go ahead and tag these things off for you. So that's something I learned a lot, especially at this level, Division III.
Yeah. How is it like coaching? Like I was always curious about like coaching a JV team and being the assistant coach. It seems like like you were talking about, like I always imagine like how much fun that'd be because you get your own program. I would want to spend all my time with that, but you got your varsity team
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It conflicts some. Because like, these are my guys. And then, every now and then, given time, those guys will go against each other sometimes, and you can bring some up. So it's fun. I probably have more fun with them because with them it got really like travel ball. I mean, because we're a small program, I'm driving the van to games with these guys, and versus the older guys who kind of feel like they're better. So it was conflicting. But I had so much fun. You know, one time we got to go against Carolina's JV team. That was like the highlight of the season. So, you know, they were loving it. You see their eyes, they're glowing. The older guys, you kind of like, come on, get that passion. But it was interesting. The varsity guys used to come to my practices because one thing about the varsity coach, he let me, you know, do a part of practice, and they'll see what I'm doing with JV, and they're like, "Hey man, we gotta do that today." I'm like, "Just be ready for it," you know. So it was fun to kind of build them all together. Keeping 40 guys as one group was very fun.
What was it like coaching? I feel like most people don't know this, but like North Carolina has a JV team and they play in the Dean Dome right
Yeah,
before right before their
right for
actual team.
varsity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird
so
calling them varsity, like North Carolina varsity, but
yeah, it's
yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the
What was
thing
that
is,
experience?
yeah, it was a good experience. Actually, they actually came to Pfeiffer, so you know that was really big. They only do like one road trip, and they actually came to Pfeiffer. A few of those guys, one of those guys played for Pro Skills. He hit us in the head for like 32. Big guy, dunked on my guys, but we played them pretty close. We played them pretty close, and the gym was rocking. It was packed, so you know I was glad that I was able to help bring that to Pfeiffer. But you know, you're coaching against their assistant coach, so it's always one of their assistant coaches. I'm like, oh man, what I'm gonna do here? But you know, it was good. It actually made me feel like, all right, I think I can do this a little bit. So it was fun.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay. You excited about the new job?
I am, I am. Partially because, well, mainly because I'm going back home. I can get in the community, and at the JUCO level, you get guys. You're kind of doing two things at once. You're bringing guys in that are, you know, pretty good talent, and you're helping them get recruited too. I remember when I was there, it was coaches at the gym every day, from Division I, Division II coaches, NAIA. So I think it helped me build relationships in the industry, just like travel ball, sort of. And then, you know, I love my coach, Coach Apple. He's a great guy. His system, the way he runs that thing like a Division I program. So he's, you know, one of the things he wants to teach me how to be a head coach. I'm interested, or I'm excited to do it. And you know, I want to repeat. We want to repeat that championship a few more times. So that'll be fun.
That's awesome. Is that a level that you see yourself at, or do you want to, you try to get, back to D3 or Division I or NBA, or what's your ultimate
Yeah.
goal?
My ultimate goal is to take it as high as I can. I mean, I got in this. I want to be a Division I head coach. That's my plan. Um, you know, talking to people here in Pro Skills and, you know, Jimmy and other guys like that. I mean, not Pro Skills, Rising Coaches. I am interested in, you know, some pro basketball. I like some of their concepts. It's a lot simpler basketball wise than what I thought. But ultimately, I want to coach Division I. It's one of the things that, you know, they're looking to help me with. They want to, you know, help me grow and get to that level. Just make an impact on community with those programs, large organizations. You can pull a little more weight. So that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, it's great. Well, Tramaine, I appreciate you coming on and doing this. I want to open it up. If anybody has questions, feel free to jump in and ask. Um, I'll get you started here. Uh, Book or podcast recommendation, or both?
Oh, podcast, you know, Rising Coaches. But
Yeah,
I
appreciate this
listen,
shameless plug.
yeah, yeah. But I listen to a lot of basketball. I listen to I like, you know, I like All the Smoke, Knuckleheads. I like Dan Dockich, that guy. I like his podcast radio show.
Oh man,
And
all right,
he
I'll let
cracks
that
me up. Me and my wife laugh every time he's doing commentary. But book, I like a lot of Malcolm Gladwell books.
one. Oh, okay, yeah,
His new book, shucks, I can't remember the name of it, but I actually listened to it. I do a lot of listening. It's really good. So yeah, that's what I like to do. Going through the Mama book right now. One of my players, she's a rising seventh grader, so I've been training her, and we've been going through Kobe's Mamba mentality. So that's good too.
nice, nice. Any other questions for Tramaine before we let him go? All right. Well, Tramaine, thanks again. Good
I
job.
appreciate you. Thank you. Hey, glad I made it through.
Absolutely. Dakota, how are you?
I'm good, Adam. How you doing?
Good, good. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you have made the decision to go down the coaching path.
Yeah, okay. So my journey starts in high school. Obviously, I wanted to play basketball and golf in college. Um, Most would say I was a better golfer than basketball player. So I got recruited to play golf in college, like Division II, Division III NAIA, but I knew I wanted to play basketball too. Um, I don't think I was good enough to play both at the Division II level, especially because I tore my ACL and meniscus my junior year. So then my senior year was kind of rocky on and off, and I was more of a role player. We had a really good team. Um, so I knew I wanted to play basketball, but I wasn't really getting noticed. So I talked to some of the NAIA schools that were recruiting me for golf, and I was like, I want to play basketball. So I found Siena Heights, which is in Adrian, Michigan, small, middle of nowhere school, like 2,300 kids, but I loved it. So I went there. They gave me a spot on the basketball team. My freshman year, it was tough. So like I would go to 6 a.m. conditioning, I'd have classes, then I'd go to golf practice, then I'd go back to the gym for like open gym and weightlifting. But I loved doing both of them. But then our first practice for the basketball team, it was like a Sunday. Tore my meniscus again in the same knee, so I'm out for most of the season. I'm like, okay, like I've been through this before, I'll come back. And so we got through like postseason. It's like the beginning of the summer. Tore my meniscus again, same knee. So I had 3 knee surgeries, and I was like, man, I don't think my body can take this anymore. So took a step back. I was like, what do I want to do? I was interested in sports psychology. It's kind of what I want to get my master's in. And I was like, okay, what do people with that degree go into? And I saw coaching, and I was like, man, I know I love basketball and I'm interested in sports psych, and I found coaching, and I dove into that, learned more, read a lot of John Gordon stuff, found rising coaches. And so kind of dove into coaching. And then I talked to my head coach for the women's team. I became a student manager for my sophomore and my junior year. In my junior year, I kind of moved into like a student assistant. So I'll be like full-time that role my senior year while still being a golfer.
Nice. So
So
three torn meniscus. That's crazy.
yeah, and 1 torn ACL.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah, and the same knee.
Like, how was that? Like the last time you tore it, and you're like sitting in the training room or whatever, or the doctor's office, you were just
That
like, you were
it was
done.
like it was a hard breakup. It was like if somebody broke your heart after dating for 2 years, like it hurt.
Yeah, for sure. So what was that transition like going from that to like working with the team as a manager / student assistant?
It was hard. Like I didn't know what a manager did. And when I found out and I was actually in the middle of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hard and a lot of work. And sometimes it doesn't go noticed or appreciated, but it needs to get done. And so it was definitely a good place to start. My coach said you got to start, doing the grunt work and work your way up.
Yeah, for sure. All right, give us a scouting report pre knee injuries.
Oh, shooter, role player, good defender, takes charges,
I like
defensive stopper. There you go.
3-and-D, a 3-and-D player.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, you're still playing golf though, right?
Yep.
The knee injuries couldn't stop you there.
No, because like with golf, you put all your weight on your left foot. So like when you finish through, so if like I had the same injuries on my left knee, I wouldn't be able to play golf. So I'm thankful that I still can with those surgeries.
Nice. So you're still competing at a high level.
Yeah.
Any things that like you've noticed that you feel like basketball players could benefit from, like through your experience as a golfer, whether it's the mental side or like,
it's mental side completely. But it's also like 2 completely different sports. So, when you're golfing and you have well, say you're playing basketball and your shot feels off, you can rely on a teammate. Like you can do something else. You can pass. You can be, a defensive stopper. But with golf, if you can't hit the ball or you're shanking it or you're chunking it, like you don't have anybody to rely on. So with basketball, just reminding them like you have teammates, like this is a team sport. And then also with the mental side, like golf is so mental. Like you get in your head after one bad shot and I mean, you got 4 more hours. So don't do that.
Is there any type of like training, mental training that you guys do or that you do?
No, not like our coach doesn't do any of that. I think he should, but I mean, I think just encouraging and being like, it's going to be okay if you have a bad round or a bad shot. My golf coach always says, just keep playing till you have one good shot. Like you might have a terrible round, but who knows? It takes one swing to get a hole in one. So.
Have you ever gotten a hole in one?
I have.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think that's something I will ever experience in life. Maybe.
Yeah, it was cool. It's pretty cool.
Okay, back to hoops. Enough golf. So you got one more year left working with the team there at Siena Heights. First of all, so you mentioned it's in a small town in Michigan. Where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Colorado and
Okay.
we moved to Michigan when I was like 6, in the Grand Rapids area.
Okay. So
Mhm.
bigger city.
Yeah, West Side. Yeah.
So this is like a big adjustment being in like small school.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the plan? So you got one more year with the team, and who do we talked about it on the last member spotlight, like about like how the GA role has that like definite end to it.
Yeah.
The assistant role has that too. So you got about 12 months left, maybe a little less. Is
Yeah.
that stressful for you, or you don't really like worry about it too much?
Some days I worry about it and stress out about it, but you got to trust your path. And I mean, I'm not definite on getting a GA spot. Like I'm open to being a D3 assistant or like a video coordinator. Just like I'm not set on one way because I know like it might not work out. But yeah, some days I'm like freaking out about my life. But
is there a certain level that you want to be at, or not necessarily?
Not really. I love the NAI level a lot, but I mean, at any spot that you go to, at any division, you're going to learn. So I'm open.
How has it been juggling like being a student assistant and being, like the same age as the athletes and, probably friends with them?
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things because like that's what I probably struggle with the most is like discipline and like saying like you got to go run or you can't be doing this or when they ask me to go hang out I'm like probably boundaries. But I mean I think I've gotten better at that with the help of my like the coaching staff and like me getting closer to them and spending more time with them. I think I've separated myself and kind of earned that respect of the players who are the same age.
Yeah, for sure. What how's the team been? Like what's the team looking like for next year?
Well, hopefully we have a season. We lost 3 starters, so we have room for people to step up. And I hope that they step up and they're doing what they need to do over quarantine and this summer. So.
Yeah. So going back to like, the next step and you got a year left there. What have you been doing to like, usually like I'd recommend like somebody like that go work camps and meet a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, like that's off the table with coronavirus. So like what's your approach been like this off season to meet people?
I mean, definitely Rising Coaches. Before I knew about Rising Coaches, I watched a lot of like NABC webinars, Coaches Clinic, did a bunch of free webinars. So I took a bunch of notes with that. And then like calling coaches in our league. Like I know the Lawrence Tech coach, they're in our conference. So like I've talked to her, I've talked to Madonna's coach, just like asking about their journey and like what they've learned. And asking them who should I connect with. So then from there you get like 2 more people, and doing that. And then I found this, which has been awesome, because with the webinars, you don't get to like unmute yourself and ask questions. But with this you do, and you get to see face to face, which is a really positive thing.
Yeah, and you're like super active in all of you're in as many, Rising Coaches events as anybody really, which is awesome. And you do seem like pretty fearless in terms of like, you're not shy or hesitant to ask questions or speak up or get involved. So where does that like come from for you, Dakota?
I mean, I'm glad it seems like that, because before I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to ask a question. Like, but honestly, I still get nervous before I ask. And I mean, there's still times I don't ask questions when I really want to, with like the X's and O's stuff, because I'm at the point where I'm still learning about it. So I hope to get better at that, but I'm glad it comes off confident.
Yeah, you seem like naturally like a social person. Like, do you feel like that's accurate or not always?
Yeah, naturally, I'd say so.
Yeah, good. That's good. That's half the battle in this business. So
yeah,
far for sure. Okay, Dakota. Jimmy says always ask. Very true. There you go.
Yeah, he knows from his class. Yeah, I'm in there.
Okay, give me podcast or book recommendation or both.
Obviously, I'm a fan of John Gordon's stuff. Like he has a positive university podcast. I really enjoyed Kevin Eastman's book, Why the Best Are the Best. That was a really good book. And then You Win in the Locker Room First, which is, I think, with John Gordon and Mike Smith.
Okay.
But those are some good ones. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. And then advice for anybody, you have an interesting perspective, right? So like you've been a player, you've had your playing career taken away due to injuries.
Yeah.
Through the manager up to student assistant route, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to break in and get that start?
I think a big part of it is like invest in yourself. And like, if you're not an expert, like go out and learn, because there's so many resources out there, and it's important that you take the time to invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, invest in other people. I think like that's a big, huge, important word, is like just invest.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Dakota, thanks so much for doing this with us. I want to open up. Does anybody have questions for Dakota or Tramaine?
Dakota, this is Brant Daniels. I spent 6 years in the WAC. Just wondered your favorite spot to visit in the WAC or play on your travels around.
Favorite spot to play? I don't know. I mean, I don't like going to Indiana Tech because their women's team are really good.
Yeah.
And we most often lose. But yeah, I don't know.
There's some pretty cool cities, but tell Coach Caps and Coach P I said hey.
I will.
Awesome. Anything else? All right. Well, good job, you two. Thanks again for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.